Next up at UFC Vegas 46, we have Brandon Royval versus Rogério Bontorin. Brandon Royval is 12-6 overall, 3-2 in his last five, riding a two-fight skid, but to pretty high-level opponents. Rogério Bontorin, 17-3 overall and 3-2 in his last five. Brandon Royval is one of the most exciting guys to watch. He's always looking for a finish, but he has enough cardio to set a relentless pace for 15 minutes. He's dangerous on his feet with diverse striking and great speed. He's also a solid grappler with tricky submissions and a willingness to chase them. He throws crazy, he brings a ton of pressure, and he keeps coming forward. Brandon Royval is a problem for a lot of people. Rogério Bontorin has heavy punches and throws with intent, but it's mostly there to set up his grappling. His grappling is very good. He's got solid pressure on top, and he's very controlled and measured in what he does. Where Royval will scramble and look for wild submissions, Bontorin will plot, take his time, and work from one position to another. He does all of this while keeping the pressure and throwing strikes from top. He can absolutely submit anyone on the ground, but he does take his time and can fall behind on the scorecards because of that. And this is a really fun fight. We have two guys trying to stay at the top of the division. I think Brandon is definitely the more well-rounded fighter. He's certainly the better striker and has skills on the ground. Bontorin is definitely the better grappler and definitely has more power in his hands. I think the odds are wide here. I think Royval should be the favorite because his striking is solid and his pace is incredible, but the wildness has cost him fights in the past. And if they are on the mat and Royval decides to roll for a submission that isn't there, he will lose a scramble, likely give up a round, potentially get submitted. I'm going to go with Royval here because of his cardio and his striking, but we absolutely should not sleep on Bontorin. And I have a little bit of a bet on Bontorin. I did Bontorin wins inside the distance, but decision no action. I put a quarter of a unit on it at plus 165. If you don't know what that is, we have 5 different betting partners. One of them is Bet Online, and they have a lot of these safety net bets. What that bet is saying is if Rogério Bontorin wins inside the distance, so he submits or knocks out Brandon Royval, then I will get paid out at plus 165. If he just loses a decision, I get a refund. The bet never happened. I get a full refund, no bet, hands are clean, no big deal. I think Brandon Royval wins. I do not think Brandon Royval can stop Bontorin, but I do think Bontorin can stop Brandon Royval. So I hit that bet, only a quarter of a unit, and I actually got better odds on that than the money line. Sometimes they just, I don't know, don't do their due diligence, but I like that bet. I hit that bet. You're only going to find that at Bet Online, and you might as well go to wewantpicks.com/bets. We have 5 partners. Jump in the Bet Online, make a deposit, let me know. I'll send you $50, and you can just use that $50 to follow along. Jakey boy, I know you're a Royval fan. What do you think?
Yeah, and I actually placed a somewhat similar bet, a little bit more specific. I think Royval probably wins this fight, but I took a submission bet, a half unit on Bontorin for like plus 375 because we saw in that last fight, Brandon Royval got in a little bit of trouble and got submitted by Pantoja. And I think Bontorin is on that level of jiu-jitsu as Pantoja. If you're Brandon Royval in this fight, you can't trust your scrambles, right? He's very, very good in his jiu-jitsu. And there's probably going to be people that be in the chat that be like, oh, I can't believe you'd say Bontorin would submit Brandon Royval. If anything, Royval is probably going to submit, which is probably, that could happen. Royval could submit Bontorin. I don't see it happening. But Royval, with his grappling, he trusts his scrambles a little bit too much, right? Instead of defending a takedown, he'll just kind of roll with it and do some weird stuff and try to roll out of different positions. And he gets caught, and he got caught against that Pantoja fight. And I think that Bontorin is that high-level grappler that if he starts trusting his scrambling ability and thinks he can just kind of roll and do weird stuff out of positions, he could get caught again. With that being said, I think Royval is probably the better fighter. I think he should win the striking exchanges. I think Bontorin is probably going to load up on shots and probably gets caught a few times with Brandon because Brandon's very precise. He's not a power puncher, but he's very, very precise with the strikes, with his hands and with his feet. If I'm Bontorin, you got to try and use your offensive wrestling, but you can't load up shots, and he actually was a backup lock of the week in his last fight versus Matt Schnell. I said that he was almost going to be my lock of the week. Didn't quite get him there. He ended up winning the fight anyway. So this is kind of my guy, Brandon Royval, versus a former almost lock of the week. So this is tough for me. That's kind of why I think in my heart I put that half a unit bet on Bontorin by submission. But I think Royval should win the fight. But I agree. I think this is a little bit closer than people are gonna expect. And Royval could come out, and look like Royval and be very precise and just piece him up and do that. But I think if there's some scrambling exchanges again, I think people are going to be very surprised by Bontorin's ability to keep with and advance positions versus Royval. So I think it's dangerous for Royval. He should win. I think he's going to win, but it's dangerous.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much on the same page. Very typical me and you. I took the conservative route with the inside the distance decision, no action. And you said, screw it, and just went to chase better odds at a submission. So if it hits, you'll get paid twice as much as me. And if it doesn't, I'll at least get a refund. So do you like Brandon Royval at $8,800 in DraftKings? That's the question. Because we think he probably wins, but that's a lot of money.
That is a lot, and he could get some takedowns of his own. He's not like a super takedown guy, but he's an opportunistic guy. He's very, very opportunistic, and that 12-6 record, he's much better than his record shows. And yeah, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna have to really look at my lineup, and he's probably gonna be a multi-entry play. But for my lineup, I'll have to see who the other big favorites are for sure.
Yeah, because I like a lot of these underdogs, so I agree. We'll see what my lineup looks like. And, if I have the money to spend, I might, because I do think he wins. And honestly, I'm going to look a little closer. I think he scores well in his losses, too. We already talked about the bets that we've got going on. The Monkey Knife Fight strike line, I like more and more. I think this goes the distance. And even if it isn't the full distance and there's a submission, it's likely later. So I like more and more. I think it's a pretty clear more and more. We got two action-packed guys that are going to go at it. You agree?
Right. I agree.
All right. Awesome. Sounds good. Hype MMA. You said, how do you let us know after you make a deposit? On the website, just scroll to the bottom. There's like a contact us. Just send me an email. That's the easiest way. I'll respond. All I need is your user ID or the account number for whatever you signed up with so we can verify, and then how you want to get paid. It's that simple.